This is the seated abdominal crunch. Now we're really in an inclined position here. You know how to set up the bench for that. And we're going to reach back, grab the resistance, curl it in very safely. Good. And then we're just going to collapse those forearms right down against your upper arm, fists basically against your shoulders. And sometimes I've seen people actually kind of try to grab across here like that if that's more comfortable for you. Whatever you need to do to make holding of the handles and the resistance pretty comfortable thing, because you're just resting here and all of the motion is right here between the ribs and the pelvis. Now remember, this is a crunch. This is not a full sit-up, and that's one of the big mistakes is people think they need this big monster motion where they're sitting all the way up. Her low back should never really leave this bench right here. You can see how she's doing it. And she'll lay all the way down. Now watch right here. Here's what I want you to think about. Concentrate solely. Go real slow. Stop before you, Amy. I want to show them. There you go. Concentrate on what's going on between here and here. Tighten this before you ever move. So she's going to tighten and use that muscle to pull her into a crunch. Don't just start throwing the head and shoulders and hoping that all of this works somewhere along the way. The key is tightening, and don't even move unless you know that these muscles are what pulled you into position. Now you're going to work the entire abdominals here. And I know you've seen all kinds of books and magazines and goofy things that saying you're working upper versus lower versus obliques. But if you look at what's really happening, and if you test all the abdominals, every section of the abdominals is involved here, as are the obliques. Okay? So it's not that we don't have other variations we can look at, but just realize that if you were choosing one exercise, you've accomplished everything right here in this one. Now you can kind of mess with it a little bit by putting these straps more off the top of your shoulder or something. That's going to change the resistance a little bit as opposed to if it came off the side of your shoulder. We've got the adjustable arms in position number 9. They're all the way down at the bottom. And that's it. Having the feet up on the pads down by the leg extension can be really helpful. Some people might find it uncomfortable trying to do this with their feet on the floor, so that's not a bad idea as well. But remember, this is not a spot reducing exercise. You can't do crunches. I don't care if you do 1,000 reps. That's not going to help you lose fat. You've got to eat right. You've got to do all those other things. You've got to do the aerobic exercise to help burn calories. This is about creating a stronger core. This is about developing the muscle so that as you lose the fat, you can see your abdominals because they are underneath there. We are working these just like any other muscle. You've just got to expose them by reducing the fat if you want to see them. Here is a great version of a seated abdominal crunch that we can perform in the Revolution using the leg press back pad. So we just put it in the seat as we show you in the technical portion where we talk about setting up the different attachments. And now we're going to use it to bend around and to crunch against. Now here's the big thing. Set the arms, the adjustable arms, at about shoulder height. I'm going to show you the first one at shoulder height so you can see what it looks like when the ropes are pulling straight back on her. And then one other setting up one from that, which would be position number, this is number 5 right here, and then it'll be position number 4, I believe, if we go up one from that. But anyway, take a look. Here's the big trick. You need to control how far back you allow yourself to be pulled. Now Amy can go a lot further than that, but right now, the whole purpose of this is you don't have a big, long, flat bench behind you anymore. So you can start to extend back a little bit, use the abdominals, watch her tighten first, and then use them to create the crunch. Now again, your low back should probably never pull away from this back pad because we're not trying to do a full sit-up type of thing like that, you see? So her low back's going to stay against there. But as she gets stronger, and as you slowly progress range of motion, don't just flop back there, but control it. Look at that. See, she's got tremendous control over her spine. She works on this kind of thing all the time. But she can go way back here, and from that position, don't just rock forward, but watch how she tightens and pulls out of that position, ribs towards the pelvis into a perfect crunch. See, the whole thing is not just simulating the exercise, folks. It's getting good enough to control it and make your muscles work from these new positions. It's not going to be magic if you go, oh look, I can lean back as far as Amy. You've got to be able to tighten the abs and pull out of it with the same control that Amy has. Now watch this. I put this up one notch. you'll notice the rope is coming from a little tiny bit higher angle, and she's going to feel a little bit different resistance towards the end. Can you tell the difference at all, Amy? It's going to make it a little bit harder towards the end of the motion because the resistance is not falling off. It just has to do with the way that the ropes are pulling on her torso. So those are kind of your two options. One level that's about even with your shoulder height, and then maybe one notch or one adjustment that would be above that. But the key is control right here. Don't go fast, and don't worry about doing 8 million repetitions. In fact, the point of this is to slowly add weight so that you're doing the 10 to 11 to 12 repetitions to fatigue, just like you are for any other muscle group, because that's what's going to take to develop these muscles so that you can see them the way you can see Amy's. You're not going to be able to spot reduce with 1,000 repetitions done fast and getting all that burning and stuff. So pay attention to doing it right, and then start eating right and doing the aerobics too.